All right, well, forget the big nuke chills. If these guys are getting a check from us, they might want to cash it fast, because next Friday is the day watchers are predicting America will reach its debt limit, $14.3 trillion. You don't raise that number up?
Failing to raise the debt ceiling would be Armageddon-like in terms of the economy.
Playing Russian roulette with like the fully loaded revolver.
Failing to raise the debt limit, of course, would create a cataclysmic economic crisis.
Risking sending the economy off the rails.
And we're all going to die. So everything will come crashing down when that happens, right? To Darcy Olsen, who says, not quite. Darcy is president of the Goldwater Institute. Well, we've been having the fear of God put into us, Darcy. You don't share that. Why not?
I don't. I mean, the only thing cataclysmic for these guys is that they're going to have less money to spend. I mean, the truth is that the American public does not want this debt ceiling raised, and with good reason, because it means business as usual in Washington. We're not going to default. Even if we hit that debt ceiling, there are all kinds of things that the Treasury can do to make sure that the government continues to pay its bills. And in the meantime, what we really need to do is get at the heart of that debt. Why is it so large? And figure out a way to stop it.
No, I agree with you saying on principle. And there are things you could do to continue paying note holders and bond holders their interest. But you can't do that forever. And so I guess what I'm asking you is, could you live, could your supporters live with that one payment that we can't make, that we don't make? Because that then is a default.
Well, I think that what's happening here is that this has been vastly overblown. Even if we hit the debt ceiling, again, there is so much that the Treasury can do.
I know that, Darcy, and you're right. You could do this rob Peter to pay Paul thing for months. Some say actually for a year or more. But if we push it to that, where we don't make good on payment, the technical definition of insolvency is just that. Could you live with that?
Well, certainly we don't want to go there. We don't want higher interest rates. We don't want to have to raise taxes to pay that off. And so that's why, using this debt, this looming, debt busting, the ceiling out there to force Congress to cut its spending and prioritize is so important, because this is the same old thing in Washington, and it is exactly what voters in the last election said has to stop. We have to stop issuing debt to pay for things that we simply can't afford. I mean, here we are talking about a $14 trillion debt when the real problem is the entitlement debt, which is, you're talking about $40 trillion. So if we can't deal with this small problem.
But you're right, we do keep pushing the can down the road. But again, would you and a lot of the people who share your view live with a default if for no other reason than to teach a painful lesson?
I just don't think that we're going to get there. I don't think that we need to get there. And so I really don't want to play that scenario. I don't think there is an Armageddon coming.
I hope you're right,
all.
Darcy. I hope you're right. But good points all. Good having you. Darcy Olsen in Phoenix.
Thanks, Neil.